sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent.
Unplugged?
Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one.
Alright, you know what time it is. It's time for part 24 of Meet Your Strawman. Keanu Reeves, man, he's got such a funny voice. What are they? He's the perfect dude to play, can't remember the name of the character anymore, but Point Break. He was in Point Break. Like, totally lost, dude. Like, this wave came in and I was smoking a scoob on my board. Like, he's got that hell, like, surfer voice. It's so good. Alright, anyway. He offers to lend people money, which he will invent and conjure up out of diddly squats in order to allow them to buy whatever they want. Buy whatever you want, human. Get the Louis Vuitton bag. Buy the sneakers. Get yourself a flu jab and maybe a pair of sunglasses while you're in the chemist. We will skip the straw man here and just focus on the actual transaction offered by Mr. Wanker. A house purchaser comes to Mr. Wanker looking for a loan of 100k. This is a deal on which Mr. Wanker can't lose no matter what happens, so he will approve the deal unless he has some very, very good reason for not doing so. After all, it's not going to cost him anything and he will be paid with real money gained through real work done by real people, because you're busting your ass to pay this shit back. The deal is for 17% interest per year for 25 years. If the deal runs for the full 25 years, then the borrower may well pay back as much as $433,557, according to a professional mortgage calculator result, that is. You pay back 4 fucking times what you borrowed, even though you were given fake money and what you pay back is real labour-backed money. But as Mr. Governcunt takes 80% of what you earn before you get to pay the mortgage, you need to earn $2,167,785 in that 25-year period, as Mr. Governcunt will take $1,734,228 away from you in direct and, of course, hidden taxes. And to add insult to injury, put some salt in the wound, Mr. Governcunt will take a large chunk of that $1,734,228 and give it to his brother, Mr. Wanker, in supposed payment of the fake national debt. So the house purchaser pays several times the borrowed amount using his real moolah. It gets worse. Mr. Wanker and Mr. Governcunt make sure that not enough currency is issued for people to be physically capable of paying the interest on their loans, as there just isn't enough currency in the entire economy for that to be possible. This is another cunning ploy. The people who earn most will not have a problem sitting in jacuzzis and smoking cigars, but most of the people will have great difficulty and will have very little left after paying their mortgage, eating junk food and struggling to pay the power bill. The slightest financial problem, such as losing a job, can put the average person in a position where he can't pay the amount demanded. Pay me, human, pay me now! When that happens, and it has to happen in a substantial number of cases, then Mr. Wanker tries to take the property using some of his brother's statutes, which are not law, to justify the theft. He may even manage to send in bailiffs, release the hounds, ahead of seizing the property and seize many of the house purchaser's personal possessions as well. Ludicrous. What the house purchaser needs to remember is that the original loan was fake and that Mr. Wanker never put up anything of value. The purchaser was never told the real amount which he would have to repay. A genuine contract was never drawn up, and in reality, it is not the human borrower which is being asked for the repayment, it is the straw man. Want to know what Mr. Banker thinks of any borrower? For evil to triumph, all that is necessary is for good men to do nothing. For example, why did the United States attack Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen? Why are US operatives helping to destabilize Syria? And why is the United States government so intent on taking down Iran? in spite of the fact that Iran has not attacked any country since 1798. And what's next? What are we headed for? When you look at the current trajectory that we are on, it doesn't make any sense at all if you evaluate it on what we were taught in school. And it doesn't make any sense if you base your worldview on the propaganda that the mainstream media tries to pass off as news. Yes, we have some news for you humans. But it makes perfect sense once you know the real motives of the powers that be. In order to understand those motives, we first have to take a look at his story, aka history. In 1945, Britain, with agreement, established the dollar as the world's reserve currency, which meant that international commodities were priced in dollars. The agreement, which gave the United States a distinct financial advantage, was made under the condition that those dollars would remain redeemable for gold at a consistent rate of $35 per ounce. The United States promised not to print very much money, but this was on the honor system because the Federal Reserve refused to allow any audit or supervision of its printing presses. Because they didn't have any, they literally just have a homosexual sex party going on in there. In the years leading up to 1970, expenditures in the Vietnam War made it clear to many countries that the US was printing far more money than it had in gold. And in response, they began to ask for their gold back. This, of course, set off a rapid decline in the value of the dollar. The situation climaxed, oh yeah, said the homos, 1971, when France attempted to withdraw its gold and Nixon refused. I am not a crook. On 15th of August, Nixon made the following announcement. I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I directed Secretary Connolly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and in conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States. I'm not a crook. Bam. We're going to stop it there. Part 24 in the bag. Part 25. We'll hit you with that tomorrow. Meet your Strawman. Hope you enjoyed that. We're heading toward freedom. Exposing the bullshit going on in the world. Fuck these douchebags. We didn't anyone rule over us. We got this shit for ourselves. Trust. We're getting paid out big time. Freedom.